Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
Hey, this is Tim Seeley, and you are listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Diggity dank.
Hello and welcome back to another week of the Nightwing News. Batman and Robin edition. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, it is.
Hello, I'm Kristen.
And that's right. Today we're going to cover more Batman and Robin. This time, Batman and Robin 17, 18, and 19. From 2011. Doesn't seem that long ago, but it is.
That's crazy.
12 years ago. Wasn't it just 2000? No. Alright, so. Yeah, I don't think we had any big Nightwing news since we last talked. Did we? I mean,
I don't think so.
no. I don't think. No, Night Terrors is coming up, of course, but yeah, I don't think there's anything really big on the in the news right now. I'm trying to think of any big DC news now. Especially not with Nightwing, so. Alright. So should we just jump into these issues?
Let's do it.
Alright, so like I said, the first one is Batman and Robin, number 17 from January 2011. The Sum of Her Parts, Part 1. Writer Paul Cornell, penciler Scott McDaniel, inker Rob Hunter, colorist Alex Sinclair, letterer Pat Brousseau, and editors Mike Martz and Janelle Aslan. Batman and Robin burst into a church to rescue a man who seems to be the bridegroom. 3 nights earlier, Batman and Robin are summoned to a graveyard by Commissioner Gordon, who shows them the empty grave of Una Nemo, a recent ex-girlfriend of their boss, Bruce Wayne. Gordon tells them Nemo died 6 weeks ago during a botched robbery on a yacht, and her body was found in the lake several weeks later. Gordon then receives a phone call informing him that Nemo's body has been returned, but upon a closer look, they realize the body is not Nemo's. They also realize it is missing its left ring finger. Alfred explains to Dick and Damian that there were ladies Bruce brought home and those he did not. Nemo was one of the latter, so Alfred never met her. Dick theorizes that the grave robber was sending a message that they knew the body in Nemo's grave had been misidentified and wasn't her. The missing ring finger is returned to GCPD as well, but when they place it with the body, the entire corpse explodes since the fingernails were painted with an explosive mixture disguised as nail polish. Now in the present, Batman and Robin track down the chemist who created the explosive mixture at St. Peter's Church, where he is dressed as the bridegroom, and rescue him from the crazed parishioners. They question him, and he reveals he is not the real chemist. He is Una Nemo, who now calls herself the Absence. All right, so. Okay, thoughts on this first one. So, I don't know, that seemed kind of weird where it's like, oh, there's women who Bruce brought home and there's women who Bruce didn't bring home. I'm like, I guess they keep the secret safe, but it's just, I don't know. And I guess there's people he just didn't click with, but it just seems like, you're not worthy of my time. It just, I don't know.
Well, first I want to say that I like this alternate cover way better than the main cover.
You are correct. Yes.
That one is way better. Yeah. This stuff was weird.
Yeah. And again,
I
it's
mean,
like,
to be honest, I kind of understood that part, that maybe Alfred was saying, yeah, that there are, um, yeah, like some people he doesn't click with, not everybody is, not every dating relationship is serious, because sometimes you go out with people and you're like, yeah, nope, not happening. Um, like we saw with Dick and Supergirl.
yeah. But I mean, but then the women he does bring home, so it's like, is he falling in love a few times, or is he using these women to keep up the Playboy profile, which is, just kind of, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mostly just liked. I just thought it was interesting. Kind of near the end when they're trying to get away. And Dick says, "But that doesn't mean we can't have fun doing it." And Damian says, "That's an attitude you didn't have when it was just you. Consider, hasn't the formation of Batman Incorporated, the return of the original, given everyone license to be their own sort of Batman? In your case, worryingly jolly Batman."
Yeah, I know. That's yeah, and they threw out that comment. I swear, like every 2 seconds, it's like, oh, there's so many Batmen now. Oh, there's so many of you on the payroll now, or there's so many detectives now. And it's just like, okay, we get it. There's Batman Inc. Yes, kids. At this point, yes, Batman. Bruce Wayne is back. He started Batman Inc. and he's basically traveling the world and left Dick and Damian to defend Gotham. So, and he announced that he was financing Batman all along. So that's why Gordon and everyone's saying, "Oh, Bruce Wayne's your boss." So. I just love
Yeah.
Dick. He's when Una reveals herself. He's like, "How did I not know that's a woman?"
Yeah, I mean that one was a little more. I actually didn't really like. I take screen caps of the things I thought were most interesting and relevant to talk about, and I didn't take a cap of anything in the next one, because that was a lot more
Oh, it
of
gets yeah, it does get crazier. I
the,
mean, I
of the
like
background.
I yeah, I mean, I'd like Una hold the whole thing with her. I mean, it gets weird, but I mean, I like the concept that they're coming up with like a murder mystery. But yeah, I mean, as we're about to see it, they really go out in the left field with this.
Yeah, and I think the overall thing that kind of annoys me with this is it's the Batman and Robin book, and it's Dick and Damian, and this whole story still felt too Bruce focused.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the point of that would be. It's just because they were trying to, Dick was trying to like protect Bruce from the like he was trying to solve this before he even told Bruce, just to like try to save him some heartache or whatever, and it's just the whole point is like, oh, it's Gotham, so yeah, you are gonna run into stuff, some of Bruce Wayne's stuff for since he was Batman for so long,
right. But
I guess, but yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really like it.
Yeah, I know, and I guess I don't know. Is it just you can't have every case be focused on like Dick, and especially since he was out of Gotham for so many years.
Right, but I guess the thing is it could have been feasibly she didn't have to be connected to Bruce Wayne.
I guess or the writer wanted to make it somewhat personal. Yeah,
Right, and I get that, I suppose that ups the stakes or whatever, but it just felt weird. It felt like, oh, I actually wrote this not for Dick and Damian, and I just decided to plug it in because it felt like Bruce was still the main character, even though he wasn't even Batman.
Maybe
And that annoyed me because if I wanted to read a book about Bruce Wayne as Batman, I would read Batman Inc.
Yeah.
Not this one.
Or does it have to kind of be Bruce Wayne? 'Cause if you just say, "Oh, hey, it was random rich guy instead," and when she's saying how he doesn't care and all this, you could have been like, "Oh, maybe this guy doesn't care," but since it's Bruce, you're like, it's that he doesn't care. It's that he's Batman. He's trying to protect the whole thing.
Yeah, but you could have done it slightly where she didn't have to be like she was a rich woman as well. Like it didn't have to be. I feel like there didn't have to be a guy involved.
True. But I guess
like it could have just been.
I guess they want to give her a target, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, again, this whole thing is weird. I mean, here, let me get to the second one because, is this where she talks about her whole death and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was going to say, this all blends together to me because I read them all at the same time.
Right.
All right, so Batman and Robin, number 18, February 2011, The Sum of Her Parts, Part 2. Oh, my. Okay, we're adding more people. Now, Penciler, Scott McDaniel, and Christopher Jones. 3 inkers, Rob Hunter, Art Thibert, and Andy Owens. And I think everyone's the same. All right. Absence, Una Nemo has Batman and Robin trapped with an army of false wedding guests. She declares that since Bruce Wayne now has an army of detectives, she can kill them and still get her message across. She fires a bazooka at them, but they dodge. She has her minions hold them still as she talks. Several months ago, Una Nemo and Bruce Wayne were on their 6th date when she confronts him for keeping her at arm's length. Bruce assures her there is a reason for his behavior, but doesn't explain. Later on a yacht, Nemo is confiding in her friend Terry when the yacht is overrun by thieves. Terry is injured, and Nemo dives at the man who shot her, only to get shot in the head and fall backwards into the water. She stumbles out of the water sometime later and learns she is believed dead. The next day, she attends her own funeral where she is horrified to see that no one mourns her and that Bruce Wayne didn't even bother to come. She decides not to reveal herself. She returns home. The hole in her head has increased the oxygen to her brain, which means she is thinking faster. She expects Bruce or one of the detectives now working for him to notice her actions, including taking her own money out of her company, and investigate, but no one does, so she decides to make people notice. Batman realizes the reason Bruce didn't investigate was because he was lost in time. But before he can find a way to explain this to the absent, she declares she is smarter than he is. She sets the entire church on fire and says if one of them escapes, they should tell Bruce Wayne what he is missing. Back in the Bat Bunker, Damian is scornful of the trouble dating can cause, but Dick says they need to protect Bruce from the absence. However, Bruce calls from Japan. He has come to the same conclusions as Dick, and they both know her next target is Vicky Vale. Sure enough, the absence bursts into Vicky's apartment while she is thinking aloud about her next article. The absence is holding a bag labeled girlfriend body parts, and she says it is funny Vicky should mention eyes. Sounds like maybe she might have more in common with Jason.
Yeah, I mean that about sums it up. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it other than
I mean, I get this as comics, but I mean the whole explanation about the hole in her head. Was it that like she has some kind of condition and like I guess the brain did splatter, but it's like it like basic. I don't know, did it liquefy and just like line that hole, but it was still functioning even though it wasn't whole.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, they were. There was that Paul Cornell was reaching with that. I thought I'm just like, really? Basically, the brain's been liquefied. It's still working. I'm like, okay. I think that's what they say. Is this like just the chunks of the brain were just.
Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is some serious comic book science. Moving on.
And it's like, oh, the oxygen makes her think quicker. It's like, what if the oxygen just, if the brain is like Wouldn't that dry it out? I don't know. But yes, kids, yes, that's the other thing. Bruce was lost in time.
Right, and I get again how they want to tie it in with Bruce, and but I mean, it could have been like the absence could have just been I went to my own funeral and not that many people showed up, and it made me kind of sit and reflect on my life. And then I took money from my own company, and why did no one notice? Because that's
Yeah. See, that would be
illegal and not supposed to happen. Like it could have just been.
see that could have been a classic Batman story. Yes, this woman becomes this rogue, and it's basically like, oh yeah, I went to my funeral and no one cared, so now she's like out in Gotham like trying to kill all the rich people who she thought cared about her but didn't. Yeah, they could have did that without the Bruce. Yeah, I agree with you there. And if they really wanted to steer into the Bruce Wayne skid, I mean, remember you had Tommy Elliott posing as Bruce, when Bruce was lost in time. I mean, that could have said that's what sent her over the edge. Like Tommy showed up as Bruce and like treated her very, treated her mean, or did something. Yeah, just
Yeah.
but it was just, oh, he didn't show up. Again, the characterization is basically like, oh, he didn't love me, so now I'm gonna make him
Right,
like
and I mean, they only went on 6 dates.
yeah. And they even made the point they did not get physical all so it's like, what do you want? Maybe he wasn't interested. So
Well, and it just kind of made her seem
yes,
like kind of pathetic, so I wasn't a huge fan of that.
yeah. And again, I mean, was he supposed to be the spoiled rich woman, who basically always got what she wanted until Bruce turned her down?
That's why I think it would have been
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, that might have been the point, but they didn't come across because it's like that should have been the whole point, where it's like she always got what she wanted until Bruce turned her down. Then this whole thing happened, and she saw her own funeral and saw none of those people who she thought cared about her cared. So she went from thinking the whole world cared about her to no one cared about. Yeah. Like I said, the idea was sound, a murder mystery, but just the writing and some of the giant hole, the plot hole in her head.
Right. It could have been much less ridiculous. I mean, it could have just been someone faked their own death, or like someone thought they had died, like everybody thought they got shot, they fell off a boat, and it turns out they didn't get shot, and then when they saw that people actually didn't care about them, they got mad and wanted to enact some sort of revenge plan.
Yeah, the hole in the head was a little much. I think they did try to blame it on the Gotham water, but I mean, you could have done some kind of version of the Joker. She goes in that river without a giant hole in her head. She comes out, she's like disfigured or something, or either way, that water drove her insane because it is Gotham water.
Yeah, I guess I kind of liked the germ of the idea, but I didn't like how
exactly.
I didn't like how they executed it. I thought it was too ridiculous, and also it annoyed me. It annoyed me that it was so much focused on Bruce Wayne being in Batman and Robin when it was Dick and Damian. Like if this had been a detective story, or if this had been in Batman and Robin when Bruce was Batman and Damian was his Robin, but it annoyed me that it was in here.
Do you think was another point of this maybe that just like, oh, hey, again, it wasn't Bruce's fault. He was, again, lost in time. But is this just something where maybe the point was, oh, hey, this is something that slipped past Bruce's attention, but, Dick caught it, and yes, also a great detective.
I mean, I think a little bit at the end because they mention that Bruce took care, but he never had the most humane priorities. And then Dick mentions that, like, he made me and I'm enjoying being expendable. Damian's willing to die. And maybe Una found something missing. And I thought, that was good and worth thinking about.
Yeah, but that was weird too. Just like Dick was like, I was ready to die. We're just ready to die and all that. I'm just like, you're supposed to be the positive. You're supposed to be the bright one. It's a damn
Right. I mean, it doesn't make Bruce look very good.
Mm-mm. I don't know. Every so often, I feel like they try to do stories, especially when the other bad family members are in it, where it's basically like every couple of years, it's like, oh well, Bruce hasn't always been the best, but he's gonna try to do better from this point on, and it just never sticks.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, Bruce is not quite as human. Or I don't want to say not quite as human, but like, well, like Dick said, Bruce takes care, but he doesn't have. And I mean, that is important, and that's part of the reason he needs to surround himself with the Robins and the others, is because sometimes he goes a little too far, and the like. These are, like, this is the black and white. These are the rules. This is the logic, and you don't take the people and the emotions into it. But
well, that's the other thing. Sometimes I like it, like a Bruce story, better when it's just Bruce, because then they kind of let him be more human sometimes. But like when you start adding in more characters like Damian or Dick or Tim or Jason or Cassandra, any of them, and it's just they basically have to make Bruce look more cold and more stoic than just like he doesn't care, like the whole black and white thing, like you were saying, just to contrast him to the rest of the family. So Batman, the ultimate loner with probably the most amount of sidekicks in history.
yeah, he's not the ultimate loner at all.
Well, he was supposed to be, but Batman stuff sells too well. So.
I don't think he really was supposed to. He was only the loner. He was only alone for 11 months.
Yeah.
And they just tried to make him a loner again in the 80s.
Well, yeah, when that first movie came out, yeah, because they're just like, oh yeah, there's no Robin in that movie. Let's get rid of a Robin. Oh, what? I remember the hysteria at that point. It was so funny because like all those people who didn't read comics that actually thought like they had killed off Dick. They were just it's just like no.
It was even in the New York Times.
Oh yeah, those were the big just that. Then a couple years after that, when the death of Superman, oh man, there was women weeping on TV. It's like my babies love Superman. It's like he's gonna come back.
It's crazy. All right, read 19. I think that one's more to work with.
Kristen's like, kid, let's get out. Let's get this over with. All right, Batman and Robin 19, March 2011. The Sum of Her Parts Part 3. I think everyone from the last issue. Batman and Robin burst into Vicky Vale's apartment, hoping to save her, but the absence's weapons are cardboard, and the bag labeled girlfriend body parts actually holds dog food. She can't believe Bruce still thinks this is about jealousy. Batman passes along Bruce Wayne's message that he'll do whatever the absence needs to make this right, but the absence says she wants Bruce to come himself instead of sending assistance. Their conversation distracts Batman and Robin long enough to fall victim to another trap. This time, the room fills with gas that knocks him unconscious. Batman and Robin wake up tied back to back with power tools pointed at their foreheads. The absence is going to drill holes in their heads like hers, and then they will be able to tell Bruce exactly how she feels. But when the drills make contact, they learn the drill bits were paper mache all along. The absence reveals her attacks on Batman and Robin, as well as her vendetta against Bruce Wayne, were all a distraction. Her real target was the river robbery crew that hurt her in the first place. All of them are dead with holes in their heads like hers. The absence then shoots herself in the head and falls out the window. Batman and Robin search for her body, but they find nothing. Back in the Bat Bunker, they learn that the GCPD found the chemist in a donut factory. They muse that the absence at least has a sense of humor. Okay.
I mean, again, that was pretty darn thorough.
As far as I know, she fell out that window, never to be seen again.
Yeah. All right, I will say the cover is cool.
Oh yeah, that one. That's I remember that was the month where they did that, where it was basically just like a white cover with like that, the like whatever symbol it was, whatever character's book it was, yeah. There were some good covers that month. Yeah, this whole thing was very weird. I didn't. Oh, yeah, these 3 issues she appeared in, and then she appeared in Convergence 3 and 4. What the heck? I wonder if she was in background or something. That's the one with all those all the domes. Remember when we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, Earth Two Dick versus Red Sun and all that. All those and then Titan ones. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So besides Convergence, yes, these were the only appearance of her. Oh, she dies in Convergence. Okay. They must have been they probably looking for some characters who didn't appear a lot. All right. Let's see. I'm sorry. I can tell you did not enjoy this ad. I mean, I don't think this is the best story either, but.
No, I feel like I enjoyed it less than I thought I would. I just was like, this is so weird and ridiculous. I couldn't get into it.
But and then the thing with the drills, they should have. I mean, they should have known they was paper mache. Cause it's she faked the whole "oh, I'm gonna kill Vicky" thing. So it's I was waiting for Dick to just the mention it beforehand, where it's just oh yeah, this is just a distraction. I knew it was.
You know what I think the other thing was? I think I don't really like the art that much.
Oh,
I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say
it's okay, but there's also something about it.
Well, it might just be too many cooks in the kitchen too, because we only had one penciler and one inker on the first issue, but yeah, the last 2 we had 2 pencilers and 3 inkers. So like I said, it might just be too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think that might be it. Because the pages don't always seem consistent.
Yeah, because the main penciler who's been here the whole time is Scott McDaniel, who did the Chuck Dixon, those first however many Chuck Dixon Nightwing issues. So
yeah. Although I will say that there's something about the way he's not my favorite. He's good and fine, but I don't know. There's something about it that.
Yeah, and again, it's you can even have a great penciler, but you get the wrong inker on them or something. Yeah, it can completely change.
Just feels like everybody looks too chunky, too square.
Yeah, like I said, there's 2 pencilers too, so I don't know if it's just. I don't know if there was a deadline crunch or something, or.
So yeah. Anyway, I already mentioned it before. I thought it was interesting to point out that yes, maybe Una had a point. Bruce took care, but he made some mistakes in the humane aspect. So I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. And I mean, Dick and Damian had good, neither one of them pushed backwards in the death trap and stuff. So, they were loyal with each other. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, like I said before, I just felt like for Bruce really barely being in it and for it not actually being his book, I felt like he was in it too much.
Oh yeah, just the idea of Bruce Wayne, yeah.
And so I guess I thought that was kind of tedious.
And Damian just getting dark. He's like, "Oh, one of us could push forward into the drill and mock you with his death." But yeah, that seemed a lot of trouble to go to just kill just a handful of people, just as a distraction to kill a handful of people. I feel like had she had moved quick enough, she probably just going to kill most, if not all of them.
Yeah, like I said, it's very comic booky.
Yes.
Like you wouldn't go through all of this in real life just to get revenge on the guys that killed you. You
Yeah.
just do it to them and be gone.
Well, I think that's the other point too. Supposedly, that hole in her head's making her think with all the oxygen rushing and making her think faster. But I mean, it's probably driving her crazy.
Yeah.
And again, giant plot hole in her forehead. Yeah, I was gonna say and this writer Paul Cornell, I wasn't too familiar with him past these issues, so maybe that's. Oh, that's right. He did do some Action Comics, but yeah, he wrote some stuff around this time. But besides that, I wasn't too familiar. Mm. Oh, born in England. Sort of be like, what were you thinking? He's probably I think a lot of people would like try to create like the next big Batman villain. Because
Yeah, you're probably right.
a
Yeah.
lot of them have been around forever, but it's like in the 80s, it's like Jerry Conway created Killer Crocs. You never know when you're gonna. And then like in the late 80s, was it Alan Grant created like Ventriloquist and Scarface? I think everyone's just trying to find their next big bad villain.
Yeah.
Bane, Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon created Bane.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Or he might have co-created. It might have been with somebody else. I'm trying to remember, but might have been Doug Mensch too. But yeah, I know it was at least Chuck Dixon, maybe some of the other people who do Nightfall. Just they came up with Bane.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, can't win them all.
Yeah, no, I guess not. All right.
And again, I think it would have worked. I think it would have worked better if this was a Bruce story.
Yeah, or leave Bruce out of it entirely.
Yeah, it needed to be one or the other. It needed to be a Bruce story where Bruce was the Batman and he was like, it was causing him to engage in introspection and think about it. And maybe if at the end he like reached out to the kids to be, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Or, yes, it had been, I am someone that was killed. Well, everyone thought I was dead. They fished somebody else's body out of the river. Then I went to my funeral and nobody seemed to care. And it made me mad. So then I decided I wanted to just like mess with people while also getting my revenge. I feel like that would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And then
yeah.
it wouldn't have had to be like, oh, I'm going after old girlfriends or whatever. It could have been, oh, I'm going after people that I thought were my friends, but didn't come to my funeral or didn't say anything nice or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I said, just like a typical murder mystery, because it'd be like, oh, well, they'd have to look through the clues and just, do like a Law and Order episode. Just be like, oh, hey,
Yeah,
there's a couple
exactly.
suspects, but it's like, oh, wait a minute, it seems like a dead woman is killing you. But then
Yeah. So it just to me felt like them harping on Bruce so much while he wasn't actually the Batman. It just, I don't know, it felt off and I didn't like it.
yeah. I mean, that would have been interesting too had it been a Bruce story, because then they really would have smacked him in the face of where it's like, yeah, see what happened when you were gone. Oh yeah, you kind of sacrificed yourself to try to take out like Darkseid and stuff. But it's like, yeah, but even that, even on this on like a much different level, that's gonna have repercussions. Yeah, you saved the universe, but it's like, yeah, this woman's killing people and
Right.
making it
Yeah.
seem like she's gonna kill more people. Yeah.
Yeah. And it would have caused him to think, like, oh, what is the balance between what I'm doing and making sure to kind of keep the humanity in it? And
Hmm.
that could have been interesting. But that was one we got, so such is life.
All right. Yeah. So is that it? I was gonna say, any other thoughts? Again, I mean, yeah, kids, this is a short episode, but yeah, we were tooth. This wasn't the best story. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best story.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like it had potential. It just didn't live up to that potential.
I just wonder too, because this is the 17 was the first issue after Grant Morrison, and Grant Morrison comes up with some weird concepts. So I don't know if this was Paul Cornell like trying to like tell like a Grant Morrison type story. Because Grant Morrison does tell some weird stuff. So,
but they can pull it off, and this guy can't.
Yes. Yes. Or I was gonna, or do your own style. Don't worry what Grant Morrison's gonna do.
I think the other thing that annoyed me was basically that whole middle issue felt like backstory and telling me about the villain.
Oh yeah,
and it didn't really have very much Batman and Robin in it, so that kind of annoyed me too.
Yeah, so basically a big info dump. It's like, here, let me twirl my mustache and tell you my whole plan.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess that was supposed to be like the red herring, where it's like, okay, I'm going to tell you everything. Haha, no, I lied. I'm like, I don't care about Bruce Wayne. I wanted to distract you so I could kill these people who hurt my friend. Haha. Yeah.
I give it a C.
Yeah, that's probably fair. C. Thank you,
They had
Professor.
good ideas, but it kind of tried too hard. It's like when a student has a good idea for their paper, but then they try to make their paper and ideas sound more important than they are by going through and using the thesaurus too much. So instead of just saying their things in clear, normal language, you have to decipher what they actually mean through all of this highfalutin stuff. I felt like that's what this one was, that you had a germ of a good idea here, and then you just fluffed it up too much, and it didn't end up working.
Oh, that's what see, kids. Yeah, professional grader right here. So yeah. All right. All right. So hopefully next week we'll get better, because like I said, the next 2 weeks we're gonna finish off this Batman and Robin series. So yeah. So next episode we'll do Batman and Robin 20 through 22, and then Batman and Robin 23 through 26. So.
And that's the end of it, right?
Yep. The first volume. Yes, ma'am. All right. Right. I'm curious. I'm gonna see issue 20. All right. I was gonna say that issue 20, not written by Paul Cornell. Maybe he was just a fill-in arc. Peter Tomasi's coming up next. So
I like him.
yes, I know you do. So yeah, so gonna give you hope here. It should be.
That's right. I'm feeling better about it already, Phil.
Good. That was my point. That was my plan. All right. So yes, kids, send us your thoughts on this. Send us on the upcoming stuff. Or when the new issues come up. Yeah, send us your thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all things Capes and Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise, the Patreon. Please subscribe to the Patreon. Help us keep this thing going. Find everything at tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. And also, yes, please check the show notes for the GoFundMe for Charlie Esser's family. You haven't heard, our good friend Charlie passed away just recently. Help us help his family at this time. And we just did the tribute episode. So, yes, go check that out. Yeah, let's do it for Charlie. All right. And also, since this is a Nightwing podcast, go on Amazon and pick up Dick Grayson, Boy Wonder. If you want to read something good with Dick Grayson, go pick up Dick Grayson, Boy Wonder. Once again, whether you're a new fan, an old fan, you'll find something in this book for you. It's a vast cornucopia of knowledge. See, I could have used a smaller word, but I said cornucopia.
Very nice, Phil.
Thank you. All right. So, yes, go on Amazon, pick up Dick Grayson, Boy Wonder. See, I said it. I could have said an easy word, but I used C plus. All right, kids. Thank you for joining us again next week. Batman and Robin 20 through 22. Yep, and then in 2 weeks 23 through 26. And then remember, next time we get a new issue, it's gonna be Night Terrors for Nightwing, for Titans. Pretty much the only new thing probably in July we'll get that's won't be Night Terrors, will be World's Finest. Make sure you send us your thoughts into all those quickly, so we report about those pretty quick. Although, again, you can always send in your stuff after the fact. Defend these issues! All right, kids. Come back next time. Join us same wing time.
Same wing channel.
See, Nightwing News. Better than a hole in the head. Good night.
Prove that.